In the quiet suburbs, a story unfolds that challenges our perceptions of family and trust. Ruby Franke, a mother known for sharing her family life on the 8 Passengers YouTube channel, and Jodi Hildebrandt, a licensed therapist, faced allegations that turned a community inside out. This case, emerging in 2023, spotlighted the stark contrast between the polished, happy family moments broadcasted to thousands of followers and the grim reality behind closed doors. The allegations of child abuse brought against Franke and Hildebrandt shook the foundation of trust and raised questions about the influence of social media on family dynamics. The story that follows takes us into the heart of this contradiction, where the well-being of children clashes with the curated images of perfection. It's a tale that forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that sometimes the dangers we must protect our children from come disguised in the cloak of love and guidance. Ruby Franke started her journey into the public eye in May 2015 with the launch of the 8 Passengers YouTube channel. This channel promised a peek into the day-to-day life of a family, sharing both the highs and lows. Franke, a mother of 6, quickly captured the hearts of viewers with her openness about parenting challenges and family adventures. However, as the channel grew, reaching hundreds of thousands of subscribers, so did scrutiny over Franke's parenting methods. Critiques emerged over punishments deemed too harsh and the emotional well-being of the children, sparking debates online. Despite this, the Franke family continued to share their lives, with Ruby at the helm, navigating the complexities of public scrutiny while managing a household. The channel not only showcased family outings and milestones, but also became a platform for Franke to share her views on parenting, discipline, and family structure. This visibility brought Ruby Franke a mix of admiration and criticism, setting the stage for a larger discussion on the boundaries of sharing family life online and the responsibilities of those who do. Jodi Hildebrandt entered the Franke family story with a background in therapy, running her practice. She met Ruby Franke through mutual connections, and their professional relationship quickly evolved. Hildebrandt, known for her strict and unconventional therapeutic methods, began to have a significant influence on Franke's approach to parenting and discipline. Their ideologies merged, creating a parenting style that, while intended to instill discipline, raised concerns among those who witnessed its application. Hildebrandt's practices, deeply rooted in accountability and self-improvement, started to shape the family's dynamics more noticeably. Her influence extended beyond therapy sessions, becoming a part of the family's daily life and decision-making process. This blending of personal and professional boundaries led to a controversial and, as later events would reveal, harmful approach to child rearing. The collaboration between Franke and Hildebrandt also took to the public stage, with discussions about parenting philosophies being shared with the 8 Passengers audience. This exposure not only highlighted their methods, but also set the groundwork for the scrutiny that would follow. The intertwining of Hildebrandt's therapeutic practices with Franke's parenting created an environment where the line between discipline and abuse began to blur, culminating in the legal and social fallout that would soon unfold. On a day that seemed like any other in St. George, Utah, a critical event unfolded on 30 August 2023. The calm of the neighborhood was shattered when one of Ruby Franke's sons, a 12-year-old boy, made a daring escape from the confines of his home. Desperate and determined, he sought help from neighbors, his physical condition, and plea for aid, revealing a troubling story of neglect and abuse. This boy's brave action set in motion an investigation that would unveil the hidden realities of a family that many thought they knew through the 8 Passengers YouTube channel. Authorities were alerted, and as they stepped in, the depth of the boy's suffering, along with his siblings, began to come to light. The police, upon receiving the call, found the boy emaciated, with signs of physical restraint and injuries that spoke volumes of his ordeal. The date, 30 August 2023, became a pivotal moment, marking the transition from suspicion to action. The investigation that followed uncovered not just the physical, but also the emotional and psychological abuse the Franke children endured. This discovery prompted immediate intervention by Child Protective Services, ensuring the safety of the children and initiating a legal process against Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt for their roles in creating an environment of abuse under the guise of discipline and care. This moment of revelation brought to light the stark contrast between the content shared on 8 Passengers and the reality of the children's lives, sparking a conversation about the visibility and oversight of family life shared on social media. The courage of Franke's son in seeking help opened the door to a broader examination of the impacts of their upbringing and the responsibilities of those in charge of their welfare. Following the revelation on 30 August 2023, the news of the abuse within the Franke household spread quickly, igniting a wave of shock and disbelief across social media and the community. The stark contrast between the image of the Franke family, portrayed on the 8 Passengers YouTube channel, and the grim reality faced by the children led to widespread condemnation of Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt. As details emerged from the investigation, including the conditions of the escape and the extent of the abuse, the public's reaction intensified. Viewers who had once followed the family's daily adventures felt betrayed and heartbroken, realizing that behind the scenes, the children were suffering. Social media platforms became arenas for discussion, with many expressing outrage and calling for justice for the children. This collective outcry played a crucial role in mobilizing support for the Franke children. Online communities and local groups rallied, offering resources, support, and advocacy to ensure the children's safety and recovery. The case also sparked a broader conversation about the responsibilities of parents who share their family life online and the potential for unseen harm. The swift and vocal response from the public underscored the community's commitment to child welfare and the powerful role of social media in uncovering and responding to abuse. It highlighted a collective determination to protect vulnerable individuals and hold those responsible for their suffering accountable. This widespread attention had tangible consequences. YouTube channels associated with the Franke family, including 8 Passengers, faced termination. This action by the platform was a direct response to the public's demand for accountability and reflected the severity of the situation. The termination of these channels symbolized a broader societal rejection of the facade that had been presented and marked a significant moment of reckoning for content creators who share their family life online. The outcry wasn't just limited to calls for the channel's removal. There was a vocal demand for legal action against Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt. The community, once a passive audience to the family's daily vlogs, now became active advocates for the children's rights and safety. This shift underscored the role of the public in advocating for justice and the power of collective voice in prompting action against wrongdoers. Following the outcry, legal steps were quickly taken against Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt. By early September 2023, both were arrested and faced serious charges reflecting the gravity of their actions. The charges laid against them included multiple counts of aggravated child abuse, underscoring the severity of the harm inflicted on the children. As Franke and Hildebrandt appeared in court, the legal system began to unravel the extent of the abuse. Each court proceeding shed more light on the conditions the children endured and the mechanisms of control and punishment used by Franke and Hildebrandt. These initial hearings were crucial, marking the transition of the case from public outrage to legal adjudication. The community and the public at large watched closely, as the legal actions initiated against Franke and Hildebrandt represented a step towards justice for the children. The seriousness of the allegations and the speed with which the legal system responded highlighted the commitment to protecting vulnerable individuals and ensuring accountability for those who harm them. The trial that captured the nation's attention began in early 2024, bringing Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt before the court to face justice for their actions. As testimonies unfolded, the depth of the children's suffering was laid bare. Witnesses, including experts on child welfare and law enforcement officers, presented evidence of the extensive physical and emotional abuse the children endured. A pivotal moment came when the court heard directly about the conditions that led to the 12-year-old's escape and subsequent discovery of the abuse on August 30, 2023. Descriptions of the children's living conditions, their physical states, and the punitive measures they were subjected to painted a harrowing picture of their daily lives. Franke and Hildebrandt, for their part, offered their justifications, framing their actions as disciplinary measures meant to correct behavior. However, the overwhelming evidence presented contradicted their claims, showcasing a pattern of mistreatment that went far beyond acceptable parenting practices. The trial process was not just a legal proceeding. It was a public reckoning with the consequences of the abuse and the responsibility of those who perpetrated it. The testimonies provided during the trial offered a disturbing glimpse into the reality of life inside the Franke household, challenging the facade that had been presented to the public. In the spring of 2024, the trial reached its conclusion. Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt, facing the weight of the evidence against them, entered guilty pleas. This decision came after intense legal deliberations, reflecting the seriousness of their situation. The court sentenced them to significant prison terms, recognizing the severity of their actions and the lasting impact on the children. The sentencing was a somber moment for all involved. Franke, in her statements, expressed remorse for the harm inflicted upon her children. She claimed to have been manipulated by Hildebrandt, suggesting that her actions were influenced by the therapist's control and ideology. Hildebrandt's reaction to the sentencing was less publicized, but the outcome marked a definitive end to her professional and personal influence over the Franke family. The court's decision sent a clear message about the consequences of child abuse and the responsibility adults have to protect, not harm, those in their care. The community, having followed the case closely, reacted with a mix of relief and sadness. Relief that justice had been served, and sadness for the suffering the children had endured. This chapter of the story closed with Franke and Hildebrandt behind bars, a stark departure from their previous positions of authority and influence. The sentencing day, engraved in the memory of all who followed the case, represented a turning point in the ongoing discussion about child welfare, parental responsibility, and the power dynamics at play in relationships between parents, their children, and those they entrust with their care. Following the sentencing in 2024, the Franke family embarked on a challenging journey toward healing. The children, now removed from the harmful environment, began the slow process of recovery. Supported by extended family members and professionals specializing in trauma, they worked to rebuild their lives and regain a sense of normalcy. The time in prison for Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt marked a period of reflection. Franke, in particular, faced the reality of her actions and their impact on her children. The family dynamics, once dictated by the discipline and ideologies Franke and Hildebrandt enforced, started to shift. With the absence of their influence, the children had the space to heal, grow, and express themselves freely, away from the scrutiny and control they previously lived under. The healing process for the children involved not just addressing the physical and emotional scars, but also relearning what it means to be part of a family. They engaged in therapy, education, and activities that allowed them to explore their interests and talents, areas that had been neglected. This period also included reconnecting with family members who had been kept at a distance, rebuilding trust, and establishing new, healthier relationships. As Franke and Hildebrandt served their sentences, the story of the Franke family served as a powerful reminder of the resilience of the human spirit. Moreover, the case shed light on child welfare and the mechanisms in place to protect children. It highlighted the need for vigilance, both within communities and by online audiences, to recognize and respond to signs of distress in children. The discussions encouraged a closer look at how laws and regulations could better serve to safeguard children, especially in non-traditional settings like those created by social media fame. Parenting under the public eye was scrutinized, with many advocating for a balance between sharing and privacy. The case served as a cautionary tale, urging parents who share their lives online to consider the impact of public exposure on their children's well-being and privacy. Moreover, the Franke case has amplified the conversation about digital privacy and the rights of children in the spotlight. It challenges us to rethink how we, as a society, value and protect the innocence and well-being of the youngest members of our communities. As we move forward, the lessons learned here should guide our actions and decisions, both online and offline. This case serves as a call to action for better safeguarding mechanisms, more ethical practices in content creation, and a more profound respect for the privacy and dignity of children. The ongoing dialogue around these issues is vital in shaping a safer, more responsible digital world for future generations.